Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming back and joining me for another Soul Talk. What is up? My name is Anna Hendricks. I am a spiritual guide, Akashic Soul Channel, and the host of the Soul Driven Podcast, which is a double weekly podcast where we explore the intersection of living a soulful and spiritual life in a driven and ambitious world. Thank you so much for being here. And what is up? So today I wanted to dive into anger and specifically to share with you a process for working with anger. If you didn't check out last week's episode, highly recommend. I go much deeper on this topic than I'm going to go today, but suffice it to say that learning how to work with anger has been one of the deepest spiritual tools that I have utilized on my journey. And I'm still in process. I was born into this lifetime with a healthy dose of anger. I come from a very energetic / angry Spanish family where, expressing ourselves was just part of it. But I wanted to really kind of compact this today into providing a process. So before we jump into that, I have just a couple of announcements with you. First of all, you have until July 31st to receive 10% off my Akashic Soul readings. So if that is something that resonates with you, if you've been feeling stuck, if you would like some help on relationships, life purpose, whatever the case may be, this is a really beautiful time to do that, especially as we are moving into the hardest part of this year. And I don't share that with you to scare you by any means. I want to empower you. And I talk about a lot on my podcast that it's really important for us to, really stabilize and solidify our spiritual practice right now. It's something that the Akashic Records have been recommending through the monthly readings for over a year. And they have just really turned the volume up as of late. So these can be spiritual practices like working with your energy in regards to energetic sovereignty, making sure that laughter is a really huge part of your life, getting enough rest, eating good foods, exercising, these sorts of things. So anyway, but readings, you can get 10% off till the end of this month. Let's hope the light's going to work for us today. The second thing is that you can now get the Akashic Toolkit for half off since we are halfway through the month. And usually price $9, so it's $4.50. I'll put the links below. You will get the reading for July. You'll also get an activation, a workbook. Highly recommend checking it out. But make sure you're on my email list because I give my email list all kinds of freebies. And this first month with the toolkit, I gave it away to them because, I wanted to say thank you for their support, but I always give them first dibs on promotions or anything of that nature. So make sure you're on my email list. And then wanted to let you know, I've got 3 workshops coming up in August. I have not published them yet on my website, but you'll be able to find all of that information under events on my website within the next week. But I'm very excited. I'm going to be doing my very last live Access the Akashic Records workshop. So last time I'm going to be doing this live. Then I'm going to be doing a workshop about working with energy, our energetic sovereignty, how to manage it, how to shift it. I created this workshop back in 2020 and it has just been, oh man, poking me like it's time to bring it back. So new information and super excited for that. And then finally, which I haven't done before and really pumped, we'll be doing a level 2 Access the Akashic Record workshop. So again, just make sure you're on my newsletter. You won't miss anything, but you will also be able to find these things on my website as of next week, by next week, something like that. Okay, so anger. This is a big subject right now. as I just mentioned, we're getting ready to go into the toughest part of this year. And again, I don't share that with you to scare you. I share with you to empower yourself, because when we know kind of what's coming, then we can set our mind, we can put things in place, we can prepare ourselves, not in a way where we're like expecting the worst, but simply so that we can maintain our joy, we can maintain our peace in the midst of it. But regardless of what happens, anger has just become more and more prevalent lately, because there is so much on the planet that is shifting and changing, so many things that are being broken down. The divides are getting wider. And because a lot of us don't know how to express our emotions, don't know how to have the conversations, it comes out in anger. And anger has this bad rap, and rightfully so, right? I mean, the problem is just that we have misunderstood anger for so long. So anger in and of itself is a neutral emotion. Okay. It is not negative and it is not positive. It is just a neutral emotion. It is what we do after we feel anger that makes it positive or negative. So when someone gets angry, they're not wrong. They're not bad. They're not out of line. But of course, if they act on that anger and they hurt someone else, then that's not a good thing, right? That's definitely not a positive thing. And that's what makes anger, negative, is because a lot of us feel anger intensely. We feel it on a very visceral level. And I was born into this lifetime, like kind of being angry. I've got a really intense personality. I grew up in a family of very intense people. We expressed our emotions intensely. And I just remember being frustrated a lot. And of course, now in my spiritual path, I have come to understand that my anger is really rooted in a past life that I'm working on specifically in this lifetime. But nonetheless, for me, anger is a huge, huge emotion. And so for the majority of my life, I was scared to death of it. I didn't know how to manage it. What I knew was that when it came out or when I felt it, it was like I stopped being able to see things in front of me. I stopped being able to communicate. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to, like it just like took over. And in the midst of that, growing up and not knowing how to manage it, I lost friends, I lost jobs, I lost opportunities, all because I didn't know how to manage this intensity inside of me. And, no one taught me how to do this. And of course, as a woman, we're just kind of taught to be quiet and, hush and, oh, she's crazy, right? That's the go-to. Instead of being like, let's talk about this. Let's see what's going on here. Let's understand this. And thankfully, several years ago, a couple of years ago, I really started working on this emotion. I wanted to heal my heart. And anger is it a gateway to heart healing? It is so powerful. But I felt like it was really time for me to start working on this anger and becoming familiar with it and getting to know it better. And so I did that. I started working with my inner child. I started journaling. I was working with a psychotherapist at the time, which I would always recommend if that's something that resonates with you. I am not a doctor. I can only share my experiences with you. And I think my process is sound, but again, I'm not a doctor. I was reading a lot of books. I was doing a lot of different things. I was going through different healings. And what I realized in this process is that we need to transform our relationship with anger. Anger is a protector. Anger is a motivator, and anger is a healer. Okay. So when I say protector, anger lets us know when our boundaries have been crossed, which is invaluable information. The majority of us didn't grow up with boundaries. We don't know what they are necessarily in regards to how they work in our life, or when someone crosses them. Well, guess what? Anger is your first signal. Okay. And I mean, anger is like, when you get angry, there's a spectrum, right? There's like, oh, I'm feeling upset, feeling a bit angry, to like, so I can't speak to all the spectrums, but what I can say is that When we start feeling that anger, and that can be just like a small amount of anger, or it can be an explosive anger, that's kind of a clue that someone has crossed our boundaries. Valuable information. In regards to it being a motivator, so the way that I look at anger is that really kind of the opposite emotion that is just like anger is excitement. And we can utilize anger to get motivated in life. So let's say, for instance, you have been struggling, to get in shape, or at least get to where you want to be, like where you feel like you would be happy with your body the majority of your life. Well, guess what? Maybe getting ticked off about it is something that would be really useful for you. Maybe you could utilize that anger to help fuel you and be like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to do this. I can do this. There's nothing that should hold me back. Why have I allowed myself to be a victim? Why have I made these excuses? And not in some sort of like self-defeating way, but in a way that motivates us. And then healing. When we work with our heart, when we work with our inner child through anger, when we go to these depths within ourselves, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, it is life-changing. Okay. So that's just a little bit about anger. Again, make sure to check out the episode. I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can dive deeper on anger if that is of interest to you. So in regards to my process, first of all, we want to become aware of what's going on, which can be really difficult, right? Anger can be an emotion that like just comes out of nowhere. But awareness is always the first step. And if you're someone like me who reacts very quickly, like that could be tough. So if that's where you need to start for like a while, that's okay. Just try to start recognizing when you feel that like your body starts, like your chest maybe gets bigger, or maybe your stomach starts hurting, or like you feel, restriction, like constriction, or maybe you start sweating, or maybe, like anger can show up so many different ways in us. But what are your signals? Once you become aware of your signals, then you can start paying attention to being aware of the situation when it arises, right? And then make decisions from that place. So number 2 is to get curious. And this is the part where you can learn so much. And it's not always easy. Okay. So self-compassion is needed throughout this entire process because it takes time. But you want to get curious and you want to think about, okay, where is this coming from? Right? Like, what is happening right now? If you are with someone or on the phone with someone, like go be by yourself, be like, hey, I'm going to have to call you back. Okay. Or if you're around someone, be like, I need a minute to process, to think, whatever the case may be, step away. And that will require you taking some control. And it may not always feel safe to do that, but if you want to get to know your anger, then you're going to have to start tuning into it to find out what is going on. Why is it here? What boundary was crossed? Are you not feeling safe? Do you feel scared? I know for me, a lot of the times when I don't feel scared, or when I feel scared, I get angry. And it's kind of interesting how we react to different things. But like, I will find myself getting really upset with my partner in the midst of a conversation and realize like, I'm just really scared about this thing that we're talking about. So if you can step away and understand what's going on, then you get the power and you can completely shift what happens after that. The third step is to move this anger through your body. And I'm more so talking about that anger that like really gets inside of us, right? Not like the spectrum at the very beginning where it's like, this is just starting to happen, but more so when it's like, oh man, there's no turning back now. You know what I'm saying? And it could even be less. It just kind of depends on the type of person that you are, right? But you want to think about how to move it through your body. And again, we're all different. We're all unique. So some of the ways that you can do this is by just talking about it, right? So like if you're only at the very beginning part of this anger, then maybe just once you realize what's going on, you come back to the person and you say, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm upset. You know what I mean? Communicating what's going on with you. Other times when it's a bit more intense, screaming is a great way to release that energy through your body. And you can scream like into a pillow. Driving down the road screaming is a great way to release. Sound is really huge. And it just really helps to move that out. Angry writing is another one. You've heard about the emails, right? Like, oh, email the person who's upset you, but don't press send. Same thing. Um, Angry write, just pour it out. Just allow yourself to say whatever the heck you want. Don't even worry about offending someone. I mean, just really let loose. Okay. Of course, I wouldn't suggest giving it to the person ever. And then the last one, which is most aligned with me, I'm a very physical being. And when my psychotherapist, I think it's psychotherapist, I'm just like, wait a minute, is that the right word? When she was working with me on ways I could get anger like moving through my body, she was calling out all the ways, and I was just like, nah, I have no patience for angry writing. Like, yeah. But then she was like, oh, one of my clients takes empty Coke liters and beats the crap out of her kitchen counter. And I was like, it just, oh my gosh, it got me so excited. So excited. Because again, I'm a very physical person. I like moving my body. And I wanted to kind of like be able to really express myself in a way that felt genuine and natural for me. And so I went and I got some Coke liter bottles and like, oh yeah, oh yeah. I used my bed frame, actually, the bottom part of my bed frame. And I even have gotten my partner into it. He really enjoys it. We have joked about having like a place, like a junkyard type place one day where people can come and beat the crap out of things, because man, does it release it from your body. And there's a caveat here, though. You do not want to hurt yourself in this process, okay? And I don't just mean that for the obvious reason. I am sharing that because if you like were to put your hand through a wall or to hurt yourself in the process, that energy gets stuck inside your body. So it defeats the entire process, okay? But you want to really be able to move this energy out of your body so that you can release it. And the fourth step is that after you express this anger, after you get it out of your system, and this may not be for everyone or with every situation, but this can be the most powerful step of all. And that is to tune into your inner child, to see how your inner child is doing with the situation, to comfort them, to do some reparenting, which is basically just stepping in and saying like, I love you. I'm here for you. You're safe. It's okay. I understand you're angry. Like giving them a hug, allowing them to grieve, whatever the case may be. I have done such powerful inner child work after releasing anger. I mean, I have like gone out, lost it, beat the crap out of my poor bed frame, which I always tell it I loved it afterwards because I feel bad, but just collapsed on the ground, just tears, because what is really underneath a lot of our anger is grief. We're sad about something, we're hurting, and so grieving is huge. But in those moments, I will close my eyes and tune into my inner child, and she'll, I have built a relationship with her, so she'll come running to me, and we'll be hugging each other, and she'll be telling me how she's feeling, and I'll be loving on her, and inner child works to a whole different video, but suffice it to say, there's beautiful things that can be done here. And then the last thing, which again, depending upon the situation that you're in, these will get shuffled around, but you'll want to then handle the situation. And usually if you didn't do the communicating part in regards to like moving that anger through your body, then this is the time to come back to a conversation, to pick up the phone again, to whatever. Is just to handle that situation. And I can tell you, if you go through these steps, like it will be night and day. So this is what I have for you today. I hope this served you. I would love to hear if you have an anger practice or what your relationship with anger is, or if you think that one of these practices would be beneficial to you. I would love to hear. So make sure, share your comments below. Please share this video with anyone that might benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for being here. And I just wish you the most wonderful week ahead. Bye.